Welcome back. If you've been following along in our Getting Started series here with 3D Printforce, you know we are on our final video here of importing our actual 3D model details. I'm Sam, founder of 3D Printforce, and we're just going to kind of walk through in inputting of data to get all of the model information we need into 3D Printforce so that we can use the power of 3D Printforce to properly price our print so that we're making money, we know what our cost of goods are, and life is easy. So to do that, we're going to hit Add Model up here, and we get presented with this pop-up that, yes, there's a lot of data points in here, but it's kind of all needed. It's not the simplest thing to, effectively track the cost and profitability of a model. So we need all this information, but it really is pretty straightforward, and we will just go line by line and get some models uploaded. So the first thing we do here is we can import a thumbnail. So I'm going to go grab a picture that I have. We can see here we have our thumbnail of what we're going to do. We're going to import the SKU. One note about the SKU, if you plan on using 3D Printforce's API to bring in your Etsy orders, you need to make sure your SKUs in Etsy match your SKUs in 3D Printforce. That is the element that they talk to make sure that when you get an order in, we link it to the right model, we pull the right model cost of goods for that order, so we can figure out how profitable that order was for you. So make sure they match if you're going to do that. Second thing is the category. It can be anything that makes sense to you. We can see here this is a controller and headset stand. And now we need to get in the print time as well as some of the filament costs. So the standard way to do this is to just go to your slicer, put the model in, slice it, pull the information out of there and put it in here. There is a little quicker way to do it, and I'll show you that at the end here, but we're going to go 1 hour and 30 minutes for this. And then our filament costs here. So 3D Printforce actually supports multi-part, multi-filament, or multi-color support. So you can actually add your model part here, and then for each part you can add multiple filaments. So if you had a part that did a color change halfway through, you could say, okay, color 1 is black and it's 50 grams, color 2 is white and it's 20 grams. 3D Printforce can track that for you. It can also track multi-part. So if you had 2 parts, you could add a part here and then a single color for that part. So maybe it's a model that 2 parts are printed separately, but they come together at the end with assembly. You can track the separate pieces, whether they're multicolor or not. So really robust way to track your filament and make sure that you're tracking in all your costs effectively when it comes to your filament. So this is a pretty simple print for me though, so I'm just going to keep it simple with 1 part. 1 filament is going to be black, and I think this print's about 50 grams. We can see it updates in real time with your price for the filament for this part. Next up, we have our labor costs. Whether you track labor or not is up to you. I definitely recommend it, especially if you ever have aspirations of kind of overseeing the business and not working in the business. You'll need to pay somebody to take your space. So whether or not this model has print prep, you can decide. I almost always do a post-processing though. Even if it's not post-processing the model, you got to put the model in a box. You got to go to the post office. So I usually do a couple minutes at an attractive cost per hour. So that way, if I do need to replace myself, I can afford to pay somebody a decent wage to do that. Next up is the other supply costs. So if you have some already done, you can see here I do. You can select these. It'll add it to the model. And then when you make a sale of this model, it'll actually deduct the other supply from your other supply inventory, tracking that as well, just like we do with the filament. It also rolls this number up into your cost of goods so that you make sure you're counting every cost you have with producing this product. So this one in particular does require a 3/4 inch PVC pipe, so I have it added here. Shipping charge is what you charge the buyer. So some of your models may be bigger, maybe smaller, may require more in shipping or less, so you can track what you're going to charge buyers for each model right here. Shipping weight is in ounces. We're going to go 3 ounces. And then what box you put it in. So we created those shipping profiles earlier. I put this model in my 10 by 4 by 4 box. And then what models do you print on? Maybe you have some models that have size constraints and they can only be on bigger printers and you can't print them on, your minis. You can select which models of which printer models it can print on here, and then what platforms you sell on. So I'm going to do Etsy and Craft Fair, and then we hit save. And here we have our model, and it just gives us all the relevant information we need to effectively price this product. So we can see here if we were giving this away, it cost us $4.74 every time we gave this away. So obviously we don't want to do that. So if we go $10, it'll update in live time, and now we can see here for $10 we're actually going to make $2.79 or $1.86 per hour of printing hour. Which isn't great, right? So let's do a little extra and see what about $19.99. Update that. We can see that much healthier, but maybe you're on Etsy and people are suckers for sales. So we go 10% sale, keeps us below that $20 mark, gives the buyer the sense that they're getting a deal because it's a sale, and we're still making almost $9 a print or almost $6 per printing hour. So that's kind of the standard way to import models. Now, if you have a lot of models, that can get a little tedious. I recommend, though, when you're starting out, just do it as you create models, right? So if you design a new model, come into 3D Printforce, put it in. You're going to need to know the information anyway when you go to make your listing to sell it. So adding as you go is much easier than having to, come back and add 10, 20, 30 models that you forgot to add before. Another way you can do it, though, is 3D Printforce does support uploading of G-code, and it'll kind of parse the G-code and pull out any relevant information they can and kind of pre-populate some of the information for you. So let's go ahead and run through one of those. So I'm actually going to upload this same model. I'm going to upload this model's G-code so we can kind of see what it looks like. So it uploads it to 3D Printforce, and now we need to actually run the back end here to actually look through the file. So it's going to look through the file, pull out all the information, and then it's going to present us with that same pop-up with some information already pre-filled. So here we have it, and we can see here it puts the file name as the model name. You can leave that if you like it, depending on how your file naming convention is, or you can change it. So I'm going to change it to controller and headset stand G-code. 2002, and we're going to do gaming. We'll add the same photo that we added to the other one. And then we can see here we already have some stuff filled out. And I would say the print time, the filament cost, this is your most time intensive part of uploading the model because it requires you to go to your slicer, slice the file, look at those data points, come back over here, import them, and it does a little bouncing back and forth, which isn't great. So when you use the G-code uploader, it actually, like I said, goes through that G-code and it pulls out the information. So we can actually see here that this model takes 1 hour and 25 minutes to print, not 30 minutes, and it actually takes 55.20 grams of plastic, not the 50 that I rounded to. So much more detailed, much more exact when you do the G-code upload. Then we just got to kind of, do the other things that we talked about, that information that's not stored in the G-code. We'll add our pipe. We will add our shipping. We'll add our box. We'll add our printers. We'll add our thing, and we will hit save. We'll adjust this to the same price and the same discount. And then you can see here, here's the model, just like the other one, but tweaked a little bit because of those more exact details we got. So it actually cost us $460, not $454, but it actually took us a little less time to print. So our profit is a little bit worse on the profit per print because we are using more filament, but a little bit better on the profit per printing hour because it is taking less time to print. And that's it. You now have everything you need in 3D Printforce so that you can continue to upload all of your models, figure out your pricing, and have clarity around your profitability and knowing if I list this model and I sell it for this price I have listed here, I will make money. No more questioning, what am I paying in fees? Did I account enough for my labor? Did I account enough for my plastic? It's all been taken care of for you. You know, if I sell this for $20, I'm making $8.95. If you're good with that, you're good with that. If you're not, you can tweak it and really hone in exactly what you need to make per model so that you make sure you're profitable.